All right, I got a live show I had to do, and we'll work on the story of a revolutionary who had started who had started uh, the Black Panthers with Bobby Seale. This individual, and his name is Huey Percy Newton. He was, oh yes, he was an African American revolutionary, a political activist who co-founded the Black Panther Party in 1966. He ran the party as its first leader and crafted its 10-point manifesto with Bobby Seale. Under Newton's leadership, the Black Panther Party founded over 60 community support programs, renamed survival programs, in 1971, including food banks, medical clinics, sickle cell anemia, testing, prison busting, not prison busting, prison busing for families of inmates, legal advice seminars, coding banks, housing cooperatives, and their own ambulance service. The most famous of these programs was the Free Breakfast for Children program. It's like the same one that uh that Fred Hampton had done in Chicago, like Fred Hampton did in the Windy City. So the program here, which had fed thousands of the impoverished children daily during the early 1970s. Newton also co-founded the Black Panther newspaper service, which became one of the America's most widely distributed African American newspapers in 1967. He was involved in a shootout, which led to the death of a police officer named John Frey, and injures to himself and another police officer. In 1968, he was convicted. He was so convicted. He was so convicted of voluntary manslaughter for the death of John Frey and for for Frey's death for Frey's death and sentenced to like 2 to 15 years in prison. In May 1970, the conviction was reversed. The conviction was so reversed. Let's tell you about the conviction. It was so far reversed, and after two subsequent trials ended in hung juries, the charges were dropped. Later in life, he was also accused of murdering the likes of Kathleen Smith and Betty Van Patter, who had to be a bookkeeper for the Black Panther Party, although he was never even convicted of either death. He was never even convicted of either death. Newton had learned to read using Plato's Republic, which influenced his philosophy of activism. He went on to earn a PhD in social philosophy from the University of California at Santa Cruz's History of Consciousness program in 1980. In 1989, he was murdered in Oakland, California, by a man named Tyrone Robinson, who was a member of the BGF, the Black Guerrilla Family. Newton was known for being an advocate of the right of self-defense and used his position as a leader in the Black Panther Party to welcome women as well. Yeah, I got to early education there for him. Shit. Let me get the reading because I know it's going to be important. Okay, on to the story of Huey Percy Newton. Newton was born in Monroe, Louisiana in 1942. During the start of World War II, the youngest child of Amelia Johnson and Walter Newton was who happens to be a sharecropper and a Baptist preacher. His parents named him after a former governor of the state of Louisiana who goes by the name of Huey Long. Huey Long. Surrounding Wachita Parish is Ouachita. It has had a history of violence against black people since the Reconstruction era. To escape the violence of Louisiana, the Newton family migrated to Oakland, California, participating in the second wave of the Great Migration. That's what happened to Fred Hampton and his family. The Great Migration of African Americans out of the South. The family was close knit but quite poor, and they moved often within the San Francisco Bay Area during Newton's childhood. Despite this, Newton said he never went without food and shelter as a child. As a teenager, he was arrested several times, including for gun possession and vandalism at the age of 14. Growing up in Oakland, California, Newton stated that he was made to feel ashamed of being black. His autobiography is called Revolutionary Suicide. He wrote, during those long years in the Oakland public schools, that's what he says. During those long years in Oakland public schools, I did not, that's what it says. It's SCHOOLS, like schools, like during those long years in Oakland public schools. It was like I did not have one teacher who taught me anything relevant to my own life or experience. Not one instructor, not one instructor ever woke in me a desire to learn more or to question or to explore the words of literature, science, and history. All they did was try to rob me of the sense of my own uniqueness and worth, and in the process nearly killed my urge to inquire. Newton graduated from the Oakland Technical High School. This building was there. This building's been in the game ever since. It's known as Oakland Tech. It was in 1959, man. Newton graduated from that place. It's called Oakland Technical High School in 1959. 1959, while being being functionally illiterate, he later learned to read through the help of his older brother who goes by the name of Melvin Newton. I forgot his brother was named after his dad, I think. Forgot all about it. I wonder they were related. His dad's name was Walter. I did not know that. He later learned to read through the help of his older brother Melvin Newton, reading him poetry as well as studying Plato's Republic. He attended Merritt College, where he earned an Associate of Arts degree. In 1966, Plato's Republic influenced Newton's early adult worldview. He told the court during the trial for the killing of Officer John Frey, that he learned to read from the studying the Republic. After that, he started questioning. He started questioning like everything else. He questioned everything by he started questioning everything that was it was in his autobiography. His autobiography was called Revolutionary Suicide. He states that most of all, I questioned what was happening in my own family and in the community around me. Newton continued his education, studying at San Francisco Law School and the University of California at Santa Cruz, where he learned a bachelor's degree. He was a member of the PBS, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. He was a member of that fraternity, the PBS, Phi Beta Sigma fraternity. He later continued at his studies, and he later to continue to he later did had to continue his studies, and thereon. In 1980, he completed a PhD in social philosophy at Santa Cruz. This is where he became a co-founder of the Black Panther Party. As a student at Merritt College in Oakland, Newton became involved in Bay Area politics. He joined the Afro American Association in like AAA. He became a prominent member of the Phi Beta Sigma fraternities Beta Lao chap what's Beta Lao? What it says? Uh, it said that he said he became a prominent member of the Phi Beta Sigma fraternities Beta Tau chapter, and at least and he just played a role in getting the first African American history course adopted as part of the college's curriculum. Newton learned about Black history from the likes of Donald Worden, who would later change his name to Khalid Abdullah Tariq Mansour, the leader of the AAA. Newton, the leader of the AAA, who like I mean I don't know why. Later, Newton had concluded that Worden would offer the solutions that did not even bother to work. That didn't work. His autobiography, Newton says of Worden like the mass media, the oppressors give him public exposure for only one reason: he will lead the people away from the truth of their situation. In college, Newton read the works of Karl Marx, who was a German philosopher, Vladimir Lenin, whose real name was Vladimir Leonov, Franz Fanon, Malcolm X, rest in peace, Mao Zedong, Emil Durkheim, and Che Guevara. Che Guevara, the Argentine Marxist revolutionary physician, author, guerrilla leader, diplomat, politician, and military theorist. Newton began following the developments in China following Mao's August 8, 1963 statement supporting the Afro American in their just struggle against racial discrimination by U.S. imperialism. During his time at Merritt College, he met Bobby Seale, with whom he co-founded the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. That says BPP. In October of 1966, on a casual conversation, Seale became chairman and Newton became Minister of Defense. The Black Panther Party was an African American left wing organization advocating for the right of self defense for the black people in the United States. The Black Panther Party's beliefs were greatly influenced by Malcolm X. Newton stated, therefore, the words on this page cannot convey the effect that Malcolm has had on the Black Panther Party. As far as I am concerned, the party is a living testament to his life work. The party achieved national and international renown through their deep involvement in the Black Power movement and the politics of the 1960s and the 1970s. The party's political goals, including better housing, jobs, and education for the African Americans, were documented in their 10-point program, a set of guidelines to the Black Panther Party's ideals and the ways of operation. The group believed that violence or the threat of it might be needed to bring about social change. They sometimes made news with a show of force, as they did when they entered the California the California legislature fully armed in order to protest a gun bill at disarming them, aimed at disarming them. Newton adopted what he termed revolutionary humanism, although he had previously attended the Nation of Islam mosques. Was it a Nation of Islam mosques? Was it Mosques mosques? He wrote that I have had enough of religion and could not bring myself to adopt another one. I needed a more concrete understanding of social conditions. Reference to God or Allah did not satisfy my stubborn thirst for answers. Later, however, he stated that as far as I am concerned, when all of the questions are not answered. That's what it says, when all the questions are not answered. When the extraordinary is not explained, that's what it says. When the it's where the key's coming from. When the extraordinary is not explained, when the unknown is not known, then there is room for God. There is room for God because the unexplained is the unknown, as the unknown is God. Newton later decided to join a Christian church after the party disbanded during his marriage to Frederica. According to Bobby Seale, in the late 1960s, he and Newton obtained copies of quotations from Chairman Mao Zedong from the Chinese book store in San Francisco to sell at the University of California, Berkeley. With the proceeds, they purchased weapons to arm BPP members for self defense against police brutality. Newton would frequent pool halls, campuses, bars, and other locations deep in the black community where people gathered in order to organize and recruit for the Panthers. While recruiting, Newton sought to educate those around him about the legality of self defense. One of the reasons he argued this is one of the reasons that he argued why black people continue to be persecuted was their lack of knowledge of the social institutions that could be made to work in their favor. In Newton's autobiography, Revolutionary Suicide, he writes, before I took my criminal evidence to school, I had no idea what my rights were. Newton also wrote in his autobiography by saying that I tried to transform many of the so called criminal activities going on in the street into something political. That's what it says, into something political, although this had to be done gradually. He attempted to channel these daily activities for survival into significant community actions. Eventually, the illicit activities of a few members would be superimposed on the social program work performed by the Panthers, and the mischaracterization would lose them some support in both black and white communities. Both black and white communities. Oh, it's just great. I gotta read this again. Newton and the Panthers started a number of social programs in Oakland, and including founding the Oakland Community School, which that he provided high level education to 150 children from the impoverished urban neighborhoods. Other Panther programs included the Free Breakfast for Children program, FBFC, it says Free Breakfast for Children program is what it says, and others that offered dances for the teenagers and training in martial arts. According to Oakland County Supervisor John George, he's like, Huey could take street gang types and give them a social consciousness. By 1982, yeah, Newton was accused of embezzling. Excuse me. Newton was accused of embezzling $600,000 of state aid to the Panther-founded Oakland Community School in the wake of the embezzlement charges. Newton disbanded the Black Panther Party. The embezzlement charges were dropped six years later. That's what it says. The embezzlement charges were so dropped 6 years later in March of 1989 after Newton pleaded no contest to a single allegation of cashing a $15,000 state check for the personal use. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail and 18 months probation. Let's discuss the shooting. Let's discuss the shooting of a cop who goes by the name of John Frey. Newton had been convicted of assault with a deadly weapon for repeatedly stabbing another man named Odell Lee with a steak knife. In mid 1964, he served 6 months in prison. By October 27th through the 28th of 1967, he was out celebrating the release from his probationary period, going to get takeout food. Just before dawn on October the 28th, Newton and a friend were pulled over by Oakland Police Department officer John Frey. Because the car he was in was listed by the Oakland police as being associated with the Black Panthers. Realizing who Newton was, Frey called for backup after fellow officer Herbert Hyannis arrived. Shots were fired, and all three were wounded. Hyannis testified that the shooting began after Newton was under arrest, and one witness had testified that Newton shot Frey with Frey's own gun as they wrestled. No gun on either Frey or Newton was found. Newton stated that Frey shot him first. As we said, he stated that Frey shot him first, which made him lose consciousness during the incident. Frey shot 4 times and died within the hour, while Hyannis was left in serious condition with with about 3 bullet wounds. Fellow Black Panther member who goes by the name of David Hilliard. David Hilliard, who was you already seen him. You already seen his interview on the Tupac Shakur documentary, Thug Angel. Hilliard took Newton to Oakland's Kaiser Hospital, where he was admitted with a bullet wound to the abdomen. Newton was soon handcuffed to his bed and arrested for Frey's killing. Dr. Thomas Finch and nurse Corinne Leonard attended to Newton when he arrived at the hospital. And Finch stated that Newton was agitated when asking for treatment and that Newton was given a tranquilizer to calm him. Here you go. Newton was convicted in September of 1968 of voluntary manslaughter for the killing of Frey and was sentenced to 2 to 15 years in prison. But in May of 1970, the California Appellate Court reversed the conviction and ordered a new trial. After two subsequent trials ended in hung juries, the district attorney said that he would not pursue a fourth trial, and the Alameda County Superior Court dismissed the charges. In his autobiography, Revolutionary Suicide, Newton wrote that Hyannis and Frey were opposite each other and shooting in each other's direction during the shootout. Huey Pearson, in his book called of the Panther, is called Shadow of the Panther. He wrote that Newton, while intoxicated, boasted about having woefully killed Frey. The Free Huey Seize the Time campaign. Newton was arrested. Newton was arrested on the day of the shooting on October the 28th, 1967, and pled not guilty to the murder of Officer John Frey. The Black Panther Party immediately went to work organizing a coalition to rally behind Newton and champion his release. In December, the Peace and Freedom Party, a majority white anti-war political organization, joined with the Black Panther Party in support of Newton. This alliance served the dual purpose of legitimizing Newton's cause while boosting the credibility of the party within the community of more radical activists. Under the leadership of the Black Panther Party and the Peace and Freedom Party, 5,000 protesters gathered in Oakland on Newton's birthday, February the 17th. Yes, February the 17th, 1968, in support of Newton. They garnered the attention of international news organizations, raising the profile of the party by astounding measures. The phrase "Free Huey" was adopted as a rallying cry for the movement, and it was printed on the buttons and shirts. Prominent Black Panther, who goes by the name of Kathleen Cleaver. That's Kathleen Cleaver, who used to be an American law professor. He was an American law professor. She was like a American law professor and an activist who was known for her involvement with the Black Power movement and the Black Panther Party. Claimed the goal of the Free Huey campaign was to evaluate Newton as a symbol of everything the Black Panther Party had stood for, creating something of a living martyr. The trial, which began on July the 15th, quickly ascended beyond the scope of Newton himself, evolving into a racially charged political movement. Over the 2-year course of Newton's original trial and two retrials, two retrials. That the collision had continued to offer its support until the charges were overturned and Newton was released on August 5th, August 5th, 1970. Oh, we got something here. A visit to China. In 1970, after his release from prison, after his release from prison, Newton received Newton received an invitation to visit People's Republic of China. On learning of Nixon's plan to visit China in 1972, Newton decided to visit before him. Newton made the trip September in late September 1971 with the fellow Panthers like Elaine Brown, who was for example, who had to be a prison activist, writer, singer, and ex Black Panther Party chairwoman, and Robert Bay, and they have stayed for like at least like this 10 days at every every Chinese airport that he had landed in. Newton was greeted by the thousands of people that was waving copies of the little red book that was like you have quotations from the chairman Mao Zedong. What's his name? Chairman Mao Zedong, and displaying signs that said, "We support the Black Panther Party, down with the U.S. imperialism," or "We sup." Oh shit! I'm sure I don't want to bite my tongue reading this shit. Or "We support the American people, but the Nixon imperialist regime must be overthrown." During the trip, the Chinese arranged for him to meet and have dinner with the ambassador of from the North Korea, an ambassador from Tanzania. Was it from not Tanzania? The ambassador from Tanzania, and delegations from both North Vietnam and provisional revolutionary government of South Vietnam. Newton was under the impression that he was going to meet Mao Zedong, who was a chairman of the Communist Party, the Chinese Communist Party. But instead, he had two meetings with the Chinese premier, who has been the name of Zhao Enlai. One of those meetings also included Mao's wife, Jiang Qing. Newton described China as a free and liberated territory with a socialist government. Following Newton's Asian trip, the Black Panther Party began incorporating North Korea's uh, Joshi ideals. Yeah, North Korea's Joshi ideals. Jushi ideals. I don't know why it's Jushi ideals into the party's ideology. Oh, we got people's temples. Oh, the disciples. What the people's temples of the disciples Christ? I think. Let's go. We got something here. In January of 1977, Jim Jones. Let's go. Let us scoop him up. James Warren Jones. That's the name. That's the name. James Warren Jones, who was also known as Jim Jones, who was the leader of the People's Temple of the Disciples of Christ, that's commonly shortened to the People's Temple, visited Newton in Havana, Cuba. Oh shit. That's a few miles away from Muriel, Cuba. That's a few miles away from Muriel, Cuba, where they had the boat lift in 1980. That same year, after Jones fled to Jonestown, a commune he had established in Guyana for his followers. Newton spoke to temple members in Jonestown via telephone expressing support for Jones. During one of the temple's earliest White Nights, Newton's cousin Stanley Clayton, who was Newton's cousin, was like one of the few residents of the Jonestown to escape the area before the 1978 mass murder of over 900 temple members by Jones and his enforcers through forced suicide. There's forced suicide right there. It's a method of execution where the victim is coerced into committing suicide to avoid facing an alternative option they perceive as much worse, such as being tortured to death, suffering public humiliation, or having friends or family members imprisoned, tortured, or killed. Here comes the allegations of violence. By the 1970s, Newton had allegedly become addicted to cocaine and prone to violent behavior. Oh, no, not through yet. I still got more to do. On August the 6th, 1974, Kathleen Smith, a 17-year-old Oakland native and child prostitute, was shot. She died 3 months later, according to the prosecutor handling the case. Newton is believed to have shot Smith after a casual exchange on the street, during in which she referred to him as baby, a childhood nickname that, yeah, seriously, a childhood nickname that he hated so much. The main witness of this case refused to testify due to an association, not association, due to an assassination attempt against her, and after two deadlocked jury trials, Newton was not convicted. Newton is. Let me tell you about Huey Newton. He is also alleged to have assaulted his tailor over the price of a suit. Newton posted bond after being arrested for pistol whipping the tailor in 1974. Why he pistol whipping the tailor? Why he pistol whipping the tailor in 1974? I don't even know why. The incident do occurred after a dispute arose regarding the price of a custom-made suit. Newton, he was known for his status as a prominent figure in the Black Panther Party. Reportedly, he became enraged over the cost and the perceived overcharging. This event is often referenced in the discussions of Newton's Newton's complex persona, in which he combined revolutionary ideals with a more flamboyant and sometimes a violent personal side. Newton was subsequently arrested for a second time for the murder of Smith, and I don't know why, but he was able to post an additional $80,000 bond, thus securing his release until the trial. Newton and his girlfriend, who he later became his lovely wife, he wanted to marry, Gwen Fontaine. I already never heard that name before. He they then fled to Havana, Cuba, a few miles away from Muriel, Cuba. You know what I'm saying? Where they lived until 1977, which had prevented further prosecution on the two charges. Elaine Brown again. took over as chairperson of the Black Panther Party in his absence. Newton returned to the United States in 1977 to stand trial for the murder of Smith and the assault on the tailor, who was doing some work on that custom-made suit of his. In October in October 1977, three Black Panther Party members, yes, three Black Panther members have attempted to assassinate a woman who had to be Crystal Gray, who was a key prosecution witness in Newton's upcoming trial, that who had been present in the day that Kathleen Smith's murder had happened. So unknown and unbeknownst to the assailants, they attacked the wrong house, and the occupant returned fire. During the shootout, one of the Panther members, I think it was Lewis Johnson, he was killed, and the other two assailants have escaped. One of the two surviving assassins, were names like Flores Forbes, kind of fled to Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada. She One of the assassins, she fled to Las Vegas, Nevada. Flores Forbes, and with the help of the Panther paramedic, who goes by the name of Nelson Malloy. In late 1977, Malloy was found by park rangers paralyzed from the waist down from bullet wounds to the back in a shallow grave in a desert outside of Las Vegas. According to Malloy, he and Forbes were ordered by the higher ups to be killed to eliminate any eyewitness accounts of the attempted murder of Crystal Gray. Malloy recovered from the assault and told police told police that fellow Panthers like Roland Reed and Alan Lewis were behind his attempted murder. Newton denied any involvement or knowledge and said that the events might have been the result of overzealous party members. After the assassination attempt on Crystal Gray, she declined. She declined to testify against Newton. After two trials and two deadlocked juries, is yes we call it deadlocked juries. And this is part of it all. It kind of baffles me. The prosecution decided not to retry Newton for Smith's murder. Journalist Ken Kelly, 3 weeks after Newton's death, claimed that Newton had confessed to him that he murdered Smith. He murdered Smith and ordered the murder of Betty Van Patter. During Newton's trial for assaulting the tailor who had changed his testimony several times, eventually told the jury that he did not know who assaulted him. In September of 1978, Newton was acquitted of the assault, but he was convicted of illegal firearms possession. He eventually served 9 months in prison in 1987. In 2007, party member Erica Huggins, that's the name, that's Erica Huggins, who was an activist, writer, and educator, stated in the interview that Newton repeatedly raped her. That's what she says. She has said this and stated in the interview that Newton repeatedly raped her and threatened if she told anyone he would hurt her children. That woman old as hell. This is what happened. That's what happened when Erica Huggins said something about if that Newton repeatedly raped her and threatened that and threatened her that if she told anyone, he would hurt her children. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at the homicide. In the early hours of August the 22nd, 1989, Huey Percy Newton was murdered in front of 1456 Ninth Street, near the corner of Center Street in the Prescott neighborhood of Oakland, California. Within days, Tyrone Robinson was arrested as a suspect. He was on parole and admitted the murder to police, claiming self-defense, though police found no evidence that Newton was carrying a gun. But in 1991, Robinson was convicted of first degree murder. Yeah, he was convicted of first degree murder and was sentenced to a prison term of 32 years to life. His next parole date hearing is about to be set for November 2028. Robinson stated that his motive was to advance in the BGF, Black Guerrilla Family, a narcotics prison gang, in order to get a crack franchise. You talk about crack cocaine, bro? You talk about the rock cocaine? You talk about crack cocaine? Newton's funeral. Let me tell you about the funeral. The funeral of Huey Percy Newton was held at the Allen Temple Baptist Church, which he attended following his conversion. Some 1,300 mourners were accommodated inside, and another 500 to 600 listened to the service from outside. Newton's achievements Newton's achievements in civil rights and work on behalf of black children and families. What the Black Panther Party was celebrated, Newton's body was also cremated, and his ashes were interred at Evergreen Cemetery in Oakland. On February February 17th, 2021, in commemoration of the Black Panther Party, the city of Oakland erected a bust of Huey Newton near the street corner where he was murdered. That same year, a commemorative plaque, Dr. Huey P. Newton Way, was applied to this section of Ninth Street. We got writing and scholarship here, and I'm about to finish this off too. See, this is the part that I didn't get a chance to finish off. I might just go finish this off. Okay, that's what we found here. Newton received a bachelor's degree. That's what it says. Newton received a bachelor's degree from the University of California, Santa Cruz in 1974 and 1978. In 1978, while in prison, Newton met an evolutionary biologist, get to his name, Robert Trevors. Robert Ludlow Trevors. After Newton applied to do a reading course with Trevors as a part of a graduate degree in the history of consciousness, he and Trevors became close friends by then. They published an analysis of the role of the flight crew self-deception in the 1982 crash of the Air Florida Flight 90, and Trevors dedicated one chapter of his autobiography to his relationship with Newton. Newton earned a PhD in the social philosophy program of, of the history of consciousness from the University of California at Santa Cruz in 1980. His doctoral was his doctoral dissertation titled "War Against the Panthers: A Study of Repression in America" analyzes certain features of the party and the incidents that are significant in its development, among which are how the United States federal government responded to the BPP, as well as the assassinations of Fred Hampton that I already did a live show on earlier, Bunchy Carter that I did not get a chance to do a live show based on, and John Huggins. Sources for the material used to support the dissertation include two federal civil rights lawsuits. One suit was against the FBI and the other government officials, while the other was initially against the city of Chicago. It was already against the city of Chicago. That's what's happening. Later, Newton's widow, Frederica Newton, would discuss her husband's often ignored academic research during C-SPAN's American Perspectives program on February 18, 2006. After the decline of the Black Panther Party, Huey P. Newton completed and copyrighted dozens of essays on philosophy, political theology, evolutionary biology, and political economy, which remain unpublished and held in the archive at Stanford University College. This is this all the works here. Huey Newton speaks oral history. Uh, Newton, Huey P. To die for the people. Writings of Huey P. Newton. That's from Random House. Uh, the Newton, Huey P. Herman Blake J. Revolutionary Suicide, National Geographical Books, National Geographic Books. I was in there with J. Herman Blake. Random House. That's what came from over there. The Newton Huey P thing. Huggins Erica. Insights in Poem City Lights. That's with Erica Huggins. The Crash of Flight 90. Doomed by Self-Deception with Robert Travers. Newton Huey P. War Against the Panthers. A study of repression in America. That's from Harlem Rubber Press. Oh, they redid they redid this anyway. Newton Huey P. Huey P. Newton Reader. Seven Stories Press. Edited by David Hilliard and Donald Wise. Essays for the Minister of Defense. That's a PDF thing. Black Panther Party Oakland pamphlet. The Genius of Huey P. Newton. Awesome Records. Uh, the original vision of the Black Panther Party. Black Panther Party. You know what I mean? Huey Newton talks to the movement about the Black Panther Party, cultural nationalism, SNCC, liberals, and white revolutionaries. The Huey Newton thing, the Huey Newton thing, to die for the people, city lights publishers. Edited by Toni Morrison. Forward is Toni Morrison right there. She's like an OG. She's like an OG uh, editor and novelist. Forward by Elaine Brown. The Huey Newton P thing here. The new Huey P. Newton Reader, Seven Stories Press. This was right there. It's edited by David Hilliard and Donald Wise. That's there. That's from Seven Stories. Introduction by Elaine Brown. The popular culture they have in the song Propaganda by Dave Perez on their album Let's Get Free. It says Newton is referenced in the lyrics 31 years ago. I would have been a Panther, they killed Huey. Cause they knew he had the answer. The views that you see is the views that you see in the news is propaganda, as well as in the outro of the song, which samples the interview with Newton. There's an outro on Huey P. Newton that says, we view each other with a great love and a great understanding, and that we try to expand this to the general black population. And also people oppress people all over the world. And I think that we differ from some other groups simply because we understand the system better than the most groups understand the system. And with this realization, we attempt to form a strong political base based on in the community with the only strength that we have, and that's the strength of a potentially destructive. That's what it says, and that's the strength, and that's the strength of a potentially destructive force if we don't get freedom. I just don't like getting interrupted when I'm trying to do these live shows. I just want to get my live shows right. The song "Up in Arms" that was American. That was by Beeman. That was by Beeman. Is by Byman. Shit. Bhiman. I don't know what this guy's name is. Couldn't couldn't get his name right. But it's based on Newton's life. Agnes Varda's 1968 documentary on the Black Panthers features extensive interviews with Newton during his incarceration. The Boondocks comic strip by Aaron McGruder. Aaron McGruder, who was an American writer and cartoonist and producer. And related TV cartoon features a main character known as Huey Freeman. Huey or Freeman, who was the main protagonist and narrator of the syndicated comic strip called The Boondocks that was written by Aaron McGruder, as well as the animated TV sitcom of the same name, politically sapient and borderline militant. Huey being self-described revolutionary left wing, was it? He was Huey. What Huey is being what a self-described revolutionary left wing radical. Yeah, I've been saying this, man. Why you have a Boondocks comic strip that was by Aaron McGruder and related TV cartoon features a main character known as Huey Freeman. Huey Freeman, a 10-year-old African American revolutionary who was named after Newton. Freeman starts an independent newspaper dubbing it the Free Huey World Report. By 2012, French LFK's collective presented a contemporary opera referring to Huey P. Newton, directed by Jean-Michel Bruyere at the Festival International d'Art Lyrique d'Aix the Ike, the Ike's in province. When his situation, Huey P. Newton was the second chapter of the Vita Non Nova, a series of stage and film productions around the Black Panther Party and its founders. The fourth track on St. Vincent's 2014 St. Vincent album is named after Newton. The song "Free Huey" by the Boo Radleys. Those like an English alternative rock band from their King Size album that was out in 1998. It was about the activities of the Black Panther Party when Newton was an activist. The song "Welcome to the Terror Dome" that was been out since 1990. It was from the album Fear of a Black Planet. It was by Public Enemy. That was made of Chuck D and Flavor Flav, and it was Terminator X and Professor Griff. That contained the lines like "Every brother ain't a brother, 'cause a black hand squeezed on Malcolm X, the man, the shooting of Huey Newton, from a hand of a nig who pulled the trigger." The song like Police State by Dead Prez references Newton with the line, "I'll take a slug for the cause like Huey P." The song Changes by Tupac Shakur. He's referencing Newton and stating like, "Oh, it's like let me see this one. It's time to fight back. That's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark. Now Huey's dead." Those are Tupac Shakur's rhymes right there. He's saying like he's saying this like it's time to fight back. That's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark. Now Huey's dead. That's the song Changes. That shit came from what is it, the greatest hits album you wanna listen to? I ain't get a chance to listen to it because I got all mixed in with the shit. But in the TV series, television miniseries called Big Cigar, Huey Newton is portrayed by Andre Holland. Andre Holland, who is this American actor, was widely known for his performance in 2016 as Kevin in this award-winning film called Moonlight. See, let's see also here. It says see also you got names like Black Panther Party, you have Eldridge Cleaver, you have COINTELPRO, you have Angela Davis, who was a Marxist and feminist political activist and philosopher, academic, and author. Then you have George Jackson, who was an American author, prisoner, and revolutionary. New Left, some type of it was like a broad political movement that's been out since the 70s, since the 60s and 70s. Uh, Soledad Brothers. Nobody else know who these guys were. They were made of 3 people that's been charged of killing a prison guard. The White Panther Party. I was like a, I was like I was like a counterpart of the Black Panthers, the Young Lords, um, and the Black Panthers, vanguard of the revolution. Vanguard of the revolution. There's a little bit of the references. I ain't reading references. Well, I'm not reading the references then. Fuck this shit. I might go memorize him in a way if I had to, man. See that? I'm glad to memorize. I had to memorialize Huey P. Newton in a way if I had to do it. You know what I'm saying? Let me memorialize him. Let me memorialize Huey. Let me go get the date. Go check the name and then go get the dates. February 17th, 1942. I got it. I got it. February 17th, 1942. I got it now still. I got it. That's how bad they made me want to do it. Okay, August 22nd. All right. I'm going to go dedicate this, you know what I'm saying? Let me, let me send this in. I forgot to memorialize this guy in a way, but I had to, man. Frederick Hampton. I'm about to go get off this Huey Newton thing. On. August the 30th. August 30th, 1948. Hold on. Oh, fuck. I need a lot of spell shit. Hold on. August the 30th, 1948. Got him. August 30th, 1948. Got him. All right. We'll go to the name. December 4th. Oh, December 4th, 1969. That's what Jay Z was born in. That's what Jay Z was born in, man. December 4th, 1969. That's what Jay Z was born in. Right. December 4th, 1969 it is. I had to start memorializing some people that already been doing the Panther politics. This is what we're doing now. These are two people that's been been resting in peace. Uh, but this live show is dedicated into the memories of the American activists. The names are Huey Percy Newton, born February 17th, 1942, died August died August 22nd, 1989, and Frederick Allen Hampton Sr., born on August 30th, 1948, and died on December 4th, 1969. Rest in peace, Huey Newton and Fred Hampton. Yeah, these guys may be gone, but they will never ever be forgotten. These guys will always be the Black Panther Party operatives, no matter what. Rest in peace, Huey Newton and Fred Hampton.